Hello, BookTube. It's time I do a wrap up of what I read in July and a tiny TBR possibilities for August. And I've got my list here, and let's talk about what I read this month. Most of July, I reread all the books I done for Ozbooks, which is where I was just talking about random Australian books and all that. Trust me, it's coming back. I need to reread a couple more books before I talk about them again. But every video, every book I mentioned in Ozbooks, I did reread, like the main ones at least. And that took up a lot of time. But again, I was on holiday, so and those books were so short, like just travelogues, go, they're easy. Most of my month was doing Ozbooks. For my Nora for the month, I read Genuine Lies, which is literally the exact same plot as Great Big Beautiful World by Emily Henry, her last book. Literally the same plot. I saw this on Storygraph where someone said the plot is literally like the same, but with Emily Henry, do you want that plot in the way of a rom com, or do you want Nora's version of the same plot in like a daytime TV soap opera type of style? And I just loved it so much. That's the perfect way to describe it. It was a really solid Nora, which I haven't read in a while. Again, this is like a 90s one. Bit of a backlog, and I just really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to move on because I've read some pretty mediocre books from Nora for the last couple of months. Not looking at you. I forgot the series. Anyway, that's how bad it was. I already forgot about it. I read Weddings by Danielle Steele, which was her book that came out in June, and it was pretty bad. And but I so far Danielle's had a bit of a decently mid 2026 for me. I liked A Woman's Place a bit, but and a color the Color of Hope from last year I really enjoyed. But Weddings, it's kind of like Devil's Daughter in a way where I was just like, oh Danielle, please don't do this. But then I decided to do something a bit different, and that was to go back to classics because I'm like, I haven't, despite all of this you see behind me, I haven't read a new classic to me in so long. Like, I only do classics now when it comes to, reading events and buddy reads and all that. Like, they've kind of just taken such a big backseat in my life, but they'll come back and all that. But I decided to read some Anthony Trollope, and now of all the major Victorian authors, at least the biggies, he's the one I have the least experience with. I think I spent my time reading Eliot and Hardy and just even Wilkie Collins. I've read more than Trollope. I from Trollope I've read The Warden, Barchester Towers, and that's it. Yeah, and I loved them so much, but I just never kept on going. Like, I really didn't, and I don't know why I stopped for so many years. But I was like, it's about time I go back to Trollope. So I want to read all these books in chronological order, because why not? So it's over 40 something books, and I read the first three. I read his debut. I didn't write the names down, so I can't remember them. But oh my god, I forgot how great of a writer Trollope was. I was hooked. I didn't even know his early novels were set in Ireland and all that. I loved it so much. Loved the debut. The second one, his second novel was a bit, The Kellys or something like that, was fine. It did have some great court scenes, which I always love. But his third book was just genuine historical fiction, and I was like, oh my god, why didn't he write another one? Because I think he only wrote the one historical fiction novel. And I really loved it. I'm like, oh my god, look at me liking Trollope. Who thought? But yeah, I think the next one I'm going to do is The Warden. I don't know what comes next, but I've got all of his um, books on my Kindle, so like I can do them whenever. But look at me reading Trollope. I'm so proud of myself. We'll see how we go when we get to the bigger ones, how fast I can keep up with Trollope and all that. I read a political biography too by David Day. He done a two big, decently big volume on Bob Hawke, who was a former Prime Minister here in Australia. I've read a couple of Bob Hawke biographies. And this was really, really solid. They're great places to start if you want to do a Bob Hawke biography. If you don't want to do like one big tome and stuff like that. I really like David Day's political biographies. I think they're really good. He done one on Ben Chifley and John Curtin, which I thought were really good. I'm manifesting for the day we get a biography of Billy Hughes. I'm just putting it out there to anyone who wants to do a big book on Billy Hughes. He deserves it. He had a weirdly long career, and he done so much. And the fact that he was a wartime prime minister and there's literally been nothing written about him is shocking. But I really loved it. It was really solid. It came out. It's 2 volumes. I think the first book came out in 2023, and then the second volume came out last year. And I literally forgot about it completely, and I never got to it. But I did this month, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I done that too, and I also decided to do something a bit different because I was like, I've got to mix things up a bit. So I've been doing the Bassoon novels by Edgar Rice Burroughs. I know you probably think that's such a weird thing for me to do, and it is, but I read A Princess from Mars probably 4 years ago, absolutely loved it, and never kept on going. I was like, oh, that's good, and never kept on going with the series. I also done that with Tarzan too. I read Princess from Mars and Tarzan back to back, and I loved them both. But I never kept on going with Burroughs until this month, where I've just been literally doing a Burroughs novel a day, just before I go to bed. And I'm up to book 7 in the Bassoon novels. So far, the first 3 are definitely, I think, just S tier perfect. The other ones are really good. The one thing I will give credit to Burroughs for so far is that they're really consistent novels in a way that I didn't expect. I love his creativity and I never know what's going to happen next, and I just love that so much. So I've been doing that. That's what I've been currently been doing. Me and Josh have been doing a Shakespeare project, and we've done a couple of plays, mostly Hamlet, which what do you mean to say it's Hamlet? It's incredible. We also done No Merry Wives of Windsor, which was not that good in my opinion. I would like to see an adaptation of it because maybe it's better. Because I've only ever read The Merry Wives, and it's just never done anything for me. But maybe when I read it next, third time's a charm. But I don't really like it at all. But then we read my favorite Shakespeare play, and I'd never talk about this being my favorite Shakespeare play, but it is, and that's Measure for Measure. I love Measure for Measure. It is so dark. It's like Twelfth Night, but like it's more deranged, and it's got the Be Absolute for Death is one of my favorite speeches ever. I love the black comedy of the play. It is my favorite Shakespeare play, and I can't wait to keep on going. Josh liked it, and that's all I care about really. So yeah, I read those, and outside of that, and Oz books. For Jane Austen July, oh my god, I nearly forgot about that. I reread Emma. Oh my god, delightful. Still my favorite Austen novel. It clears Pride and Prejudice in my opinion. It's not even on the same level. It's wittier, it's funnier. I love Emma way more than I ever liked Elizabeth. Oh my god, it's just perfect, and I need more time to process it again on a reread, but it was so lovely, and I'm glad I got a chance to reread it. But yeah, definitely still my favorite Austen novel. And so that's pretty much everything I read in July, and let's go, what am I going to plan for August? Because August is short story summer. This was created by Randy Ray, and I've talked about it before, but I'm going to give you what I'm going to read, because I am not much of a short story person. I'm very much if I'm going to read, an author, I'm just going to, do those short. I never actively go out to read short stories, despite the fact I've read a lot of them over time, but I never go back to them. That's probably my best thing. And it's the perfect chance for me to go back. So I have 3 authors I want to focus on. And don't forget, because yes, August is short story summer, but September is short story September. So you got 2 months to do short stories, and this is what I've got planned. I want to do all of Kafka because I haven't read Kafka since high school. He was literally my first author obsession, and I haven't read him so long. So I want to do all of his short stories. That's easy. I've got a 3-volume biography I've got to do of him, which I haven't read. I want to do his diaries too because they're honestly the best thing he ever wrote, and I want to do his 3 novels. Again, that's easy. So I want to do Kafka, go back to him, which I'm always excited to go back to Kafka too. And then I want to do Chekhov. Again, I have not read Chekhov in God knows how long, but I loved him as a teen. So I've got to find a biography of him to do. I want to do his plays. I'll get them done out the way. I'll do his short stories, which I will be sticking to the Constance Garnett translations because I like Constance Garner. I like all of her translations except for her and Turgenev. They're the one, like the one that I don't like from Constance. I love her Tolstoy, I love her Dostoevsky and Chekhov, but I will be sticking to her. And I want to do Anton's one novel he wrote, The Shooting Party, just because I loved it so much when I read it as a teen, and I really want to see if it holds up. So that's I want to do that, and of course I want to do some Flannery O'Connor because I haven't read her in so long, and I have the big Everyman's one volume, so I'll just make my way through that and see how we go. So that's what I want to do for short story or whatever short story summer September. It's gonna well, even for me it's gonna be winter, so it's like short story winter. But that's the plan. I know that's a lot, but I can do that. That's easy. And then it's Garb August too, which I've been here since day one of the event. I love it so much. And what have I got planned? Well, I want to do the Hollywood Wives series by Jackie Collins. I've done the Lucky series, like I think 2 months ago now. I was doing one a day. I could literally not stop myself. And I have all of them, all the Hollywood Wives books ready to go. I have read the first book before. I read it as a teen, and just remember it being so chaotic in a way that even the Lucky books tend not to be. Jackie tapped into something that I don't know what was. It's just so bizarre. Again, action everywhere. So for Garb August, I'm going to be doing that too. I also want to do the new Olivia Dade and Kimberly Lemmy novels because I really like their novels. There's also going to be a new Robert Jackson Bennett novel, A Trade of Blood, which I am all here for. A Drop of Corruption is one of my favorite just novels ever, to be honest. Like especially fantasy. I know it's got more like detective stuff going on, but I really loved A Drop of Corruption. The first one, like, what's it? The Tainted Cup. I thought was really solid, but A Drop of Corruption was just something else completely. I loved it so much. And then for my Nora for the month, I'm going to do Angels Fall, which is a bit of a backlist from her. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got planned for August. A very busy month, but that's the way I like it. And yeah, so let me know what you think about the books I've talked about today. And thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.